And we're live.
Cool.
Hi, everyone. Owen, our fearless leader, whom we trust and respect, is not joining us today, so I'm going to run the meeting as best I can. We might as well do a round to introduce ourselves since we have new people in the committee. So I'm Alex. I'm the treasurer. I've been here before a while now, I guess. Someone else go.
I think I'm the only one.
Maybe Stevie, he's next in line on my screen.
Cool.
Hello, I'm Stevie. I'm new. I'm just a committee member, plain old simple committee, but I'm looking forward to helping out with JavaScript New Zealand, especially coming into the conference next year and doing cool things for our society. Oh, and I guess I should say where I'm from. I'm from Auckland. We run the React.js meetup out of Real Giant, the company which I work for and am CTO of. Yeah, that's who I am.
I guess I'll go next. I'm Jen. I've been on the committee since last year, so hopefully you all know who I am, and I'm directing NZ.js Con, which is the JavaScript conference in Wellington in March next year. Anna, why don't you go next?
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm junior dev at Cloudscape, and I just started recently. I think it's the second meeting for me, and I'm trying to bring some diversity into JS in New Zealand.
Cool. Hey, James. This is my second committee meeting. So I'm in Wellington. I work at 8i with Owen, and yeah, just looking forward to helping out.
I think Kev's last.
No, okay, yep, I'm Kevin. I am a JavaScript developer. That's just what I do, and I like helping out when I can. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Sweet. We'll kick into it. We've just got a Node.js meetup with Kev on it. If anyone listening to this is interested, jump on the JavaScript channel on YouTube and you can see Kev talk about Node stuff. It's a great talk. So I've got the society meetings issues opened. I'll just go down in my current view, which it looks like it's done by age. So a few of these are just general thoughts and ideas. As I get random thoughts in my head, I often dump it down on here. So the first one is after talking to Samson, which raises another thing. We don't have a secretary here since Samson is absent. Does anyone want to take notes?
Yeah, I'll write some stuff down.
Cool. So getting back to where I was before. So Samson and I were talking once, and he said the Ruby community in the States have this thing called the Ruby Heroes Award, which sounded fantastic. And I was wondering if we should do something similar. Probably wouldn't want to do it until the JS conference, but basically a way to reward, well, a way to acknowledge all of the unsung heroes that aren't, they're either maybe open source contributors that don't contribute to huge projects, that don't have all of the awesome kudos and status behind committing to something like Node or React, or people that help out run meetups or run conferences. Anyone who helps the community but doesn't often get praise for it, I think would be a perfect candidate for this type of award. But it was just an idea about, hey, how can we reward these unsung heroes of the community? So I'd love to hear other people's opinions, or whether we should just have it as a general thought and bring it up again later when we're closer to the conference.
Quick question. From the template of the society that you were looking at, is it something that is just like something that people vote for, or is it more of there's a panel of people that take submissions and decide stuff?
It wasn't attached to a society. It was just this idea. I think it was based around a conference. And it seems to be people nominate anyone for an award, but the previous award winners get to pick the next year's awards. And so that's how it rolls forward, is the previous heroes will get to allocate who the current year's heroes are. But I wasn't too sure about that. It seems like it could be a little bit ingrained or clicky, networky. I'm not sure.
I sort of agree that it seems like it's something which could become very clicky and very ingrained within the network of JavaScript New Zealand. It would be nice to have awards, but I think that we need to specify exactly what they're for and how we manage those. So if we get, like you say, targeting people who are doing cool things in the JavaScript world which don't get much kudos, committing to packages which we all use but don't know about in the sort of build chain, that's a specific award for a specific type of activity, which would be cool. But it does worry me that it is slightly clicky.
When I was tweeting about this, someone also mentioned that you could, the first idea was you could just bootstrap something like this to the open source awards, but I thought that this was quite different because the open source awards are still around open source, whereas hosting a meetup for a JavaScript group, even if it was like React is kind of open source to a degree, but I don't think that should be considered open source. And it shouldn't be part of their awards. I think it should be specific to our community. I'll take on your idea about specifying some levels of awards, but maybe I should just bring it into the GitHub issue as it stands, and we can kind of grow the idea some more before we bring it back to the society.
For what it's worth, I'd be happy with us having a session to celebrate those people as an announcement at the conference, as long as we have put a bit of thought in beforehand, and I essentially have somebody who owns that process who'll be able to give me the information that I need to run it on the weekend. But during the conference, which is in the week, not a weekend. But you get what I mean. As long as we flesh it out, I think it sounds like something that could fit quite nicely into the conference.
Cool. Well, I'll leave this one as open, and we'll continue to give it some thought.
Yeah, so
can
I have just
sorry.
quickly about this stuff? So because conference are just in half a year, and if we decide on people to vote for some nominations, we need to give them enough time before the conference to organize this. Can I just set some time frame for this process? For example, to open maybe a topic on Loomio, and by the next committee to have some draft to vote on or something like this, so we can start the process as soon as we have a project like it.
Yeah, we could give the issue a deadline and do those things that you mentioned. Get it on Loomio would be a good step. Cool. Well, we'll move on from this one. The next issue, also opened by me, was Git history on Slack. So about 2 months ago, we hit a limit of, I don't know what it is, 10, 20,000 messages, and now all of our messages are going into the ether. I mentioned we should either get on a paid plan somehow, or a free paid plan of Slack, or jump on something different. There's a bit of conversation about what to do, and from the issue, Ryan McCavill from Wellington reached out to Slack, but he's in the midst of talking to TechSoup, which is the organization that do the non-profit, I guess, gifting on behalf of Slack, and it looks like there's no status update there. So I can just follow it up with Ryan to see how far he got with that. But other than getting it for free, I'm not sure. We definitely can't afford it, even on their so-called non-profit plan. We've gone over the limit. The non-profit plan that they give you gives you 150 users for free, and then you pay for additional users on top at normal pricing. So that we've already got 350 users, I think. I can't remember exactly, but it's going to cost a lot if we decide to stick with Slack and can't get it for free.
Is there like, I mean, I think we were talking about this in Slack a while back, saying that there's almost like, I'm not sure what the word is, but people go to Slack because they know Slack. Like if you want to use a different tool, there's almost like a barrier there because it's a whole new tool. But then I'm wondering, like, is that even a thing? Or am I just like making that up? Because in my head, people know Slack and they would go and use Slack because they're familiar with it. But if we move to a different provider, apart from creating new accounts, is there a real barrier there?
Well, I think that a lot of people like being in Slack because that's what they're using at work. So they can have multiple Slack channels open, and they don't have to have yet another app or yet another website open. It's all in the same place, and I think that's why everybody wants to be on Slack. It's the biggest thing.
And
I definitely feel the
outside
tension
of
there because I use Discord as well, and I find the barrier to switch over to Discord to talk to a group that I frequent with there is big enough. Like since I Slack at work, Slack's just open and I jump on the JavaScript one.
Okay.
And fundamentally, unless we were to switch to something like IRC, which has a usability hurdle for a lot of people, we are not going to want to be running our own service like Rocket Chat or something like that because of the maintenance burden, and any commercial service is going to have a cost associated with it. So.
I guess we could either suck it up and say no history, or we can all cross our fingers and hope that Ryan can score us a free setup of Slack. He said that he's got it free for Ghost, and Ghost has about 1,000 users on it.
Okay.
So there's hope.
Cool. So I guess if we can't get it for free, that's when there's like a two-way decision, right? Either we stick with Slack and get rid of history, or we find another tool. Stick with Slack and have no history, or find another tool.
I found some interesting ways to get around the history though, because if you pin something, it doesn't seem to be affected by the history. So we can just pin everything.
Right,
Someone could set up an auto pinner. Okay, we'll leave that issue as open until Ryan gets back. The next one, and probably a nice segue into the sponsorship. So just as a status update on the Treasury, Catalyst have yet again sponsored the JavaScript Society. So yay for Catalyst. They've given the Node.js Wellington meetup $600 to continue its meetups. And other than that, there's been no other big ones. Are we allowed to announce the next sponsor for the conference, Jen? Have we done that already?
No, I've got actually, in fact, seeing as we're talking about sponsorship generally, shall I just give a little status update about the conference in general? Would be okay for me to pop that in right now?
Sure.
So the status update is that we have, for sponsorship, 1 confirmed platinum sponsor and 2 gold sponsors who are probably locked in, but my practice is to not announce their names until I actually see the money in the bank account, which is maybe a little bit miserly of me, but I want to dot the I's and cross the T's there. So I'm happy to say that we have got 2 gold sponsors probably sorted out, but I'm just getting them over the line. And I need to do a bunch of cold emailing over the next couple of weeks to drum up some more sponsorship. So that's high on my to-do list. I do have some other updates about, but perhaps I'll save that until after we finish talking about sponsorship.
Cool. That was my bad. I thought one of them had sent the money through, but I must have been looking at it incorrectly. I didn't have my glasses on. Back to issue 46, which is New Zealand JS sponsorship levels. I sat down and had a think about what the proposal document should look like, and after drafting up a few bits and pieces of like the general document, I quickly came to the hurdle of what should our levels of sponsorship be. So this is specifically for corporate sponsorship of the society. So I created this issue, and in creating this issue, I also found the dependency is what we're giving them in return, because we could say these are the sponsorship levels, $1,000, $2,500, and $5,000, but then it has to be very much tied to what they're going to get in return. So this has a partner issue open, which is 45. What are we offering? And it's just the general thing. What are we going to offer the corporates when they sponsor us as a society on different levels, if we have those different levels? The only initial thoughts I had was logo placement on our soon-to-be deployed website, official badge created for the sponsor that they can place anywhere on their marketing collateral. Yeah, and it looks like I've had another thought down the bottom that I've forgotten about. Professional video equipment for meetups. Yeah, it looks like there's also a bit of conversation between me and James, but again, I've forgotten that. My memory is shocking.
Yeah, my question there was like if they are sponsoring us, are they also in turn therefore sponsoring meetups? Because I feel that that meetups can offer a lot to a lot of in my head, if you're say a large sponsor, you're probably hiring a lot of developers. I mean, yeah, it's an assumption, but sure. And if you are, then things like having jobs at meetups and having a presence at meetups where people go regularly, it seems like quite a good thing to do. But then that all depends on how our relationship is with meetups.
Well, we're very tight with the Wellington meetups.
Yes. Yeah.
The Wellington JS meetup and the Wellington Node meetup. And Kev runs the alternative meetups in Auckland. So yeah, there's quite a nice relationship there.
And
That's
that's
what
like
I want to ask. Yeah. So, for example, if we have a meetup that is sponsored by JavaScript New Zealand Society, why we don't announce it as a sponsor when we have a meetup? For example, and the slight difference between when there's sponsors only for the meetup or when New Zealand Society sponsored this meetup and it has corporate sponsors, can we announce them as the sponsors of this meetup?
Yeah, for sure. If we go down that route, then it's totally a thing.
And maybe we just should, when we have meetup sponsored by New Zealand JS, we should announce it that it's sponsored by New Zealand JS and promote it more. We just don't mention it at all.
Another one would be video intros. So we started recording the Node.js meetup in Wellington. But a video intro would require someone with skills that I don't have to edit the videos and add a nice intro.
Have you tried asking the sponsors what they would like to see in return for their money?
No, that sounds like a brilliant idea though.
Because, I mean, the automatic win to me sounds like when the website goes live, we mention that they are a corporate member of the JavaScript New Zealand Society there. That seems like the bare minimum. And then the meetups thing is going to require some more thought to get it right. Because right now the meetups are a grab bag of different sponsors already that we don't want to offend. So if we go for the minimum that we can to begin with, and ask them what they'd really like to see, then we can go build it up from there a bit more organically, perhaps.
Yeah, there's a comment that I made at the bottom of issue 45 that's very left field. And so I was talking to Oren about random stuff to begin with, but then she came up with the idea of, first off, she said that she needed a personal assistant to do things like help her write talks and run meetups and stuff like that. And I said, hey, it'd be awesome if the JavaScript community had a community manager. Someone that could help out Jen run the conference, find through all of the hard work, because we could potentially afford to pay them money part-time to do those things. I know that I don't so much now, but because we have a group running the Node.js meetup, but when it was just myself, I was always struggling. So potentially this person could help run meetups, depending on if they were in multiple cities or one city. But it's a very far left field idea of a JavaScript community manager that we could pay for, and that would be what the corporate sponsors are going towards. That's a harder sell though. It's just basically selling them that our community is going to grow because we're going to take your money and invest it back into them.
A really interesting idea, but one that we probably won't be able to do anything about for a little while. Totally. But I think it's an interesting enough idea that you should create a separate issue for it, Alex. And
Okay.
maybe we could look to talk about it after the conference again when we've got a bit more, because I think in a lot of people's minds, we're still a fairly new thing, JavaScript New Zealand. And I'm hoping that the conference will act as sort of a bit of a megaphone for the society as well. And that could really help to take us up to a level where that sort of thing becomes a lot more practical.
Cool. So with issues 46 and 45, I'm happy to do as Jen said and talk to some of the potential corporates and ask them what they actually want out of sponsoring us and get back to us on those two issues. Unless anyone has any other ideas, objects. Cool. The last one is this learning materials. This has been open for a while. I'd love to see it closed. The general gist of it is we've got a bunch of books. Well, personally, I've got a crap load of books, JS books specifically, that I'm keen to hand over to some kind of community so people get more enjoyment out of it than the dust in my room. The conversation is pretty long now. At the end of it, Geordie said that he'd be keen to talk to the EDA to see if they could host the books, but we just haven't heard anything back.
I know the EDA have recently switched to doing Node for their like entire course, so that to me would be a pretty good fit. Like we're helping a lot of students with with some of these learning materials. Like they're directly relevant to the courses that they're doing now.
Yeah, cool. So Anna, do you know anyone that we should be talking to about this in the EDA?
But if you just want to donate these books, just to give it?
It was more of the fact that we wanted the ability for anyone in the JavaScript community to use the books, because when I announced that I had all of these books and I'm happy to share them.
I can talk to Rohan about like creating, because EDA has free access. Anyone can come there there's no security issues. So it's accessible during the meetups they're taking place there, or just when you're visiting. And I can just talk to Rohan if they have space and if they would like to make a library corner accessible by other people, or just check in at the reception. Let's say we like to browse some books, something like this. If it will be like reading library corner, not boring or something like this, or I don't know, just not managing one. So they're just like a bookcase or bookshelves with books. Anyone can just grab and read, something like this.
Yeah, I think in the issue we've been talking about the ability to ship them places based on membership paying for it. But I don't know if the EDA plays it like that, where it's just we dump it on their in their premise and you have to go there. That restricts it to just Wellington people, I guess.
Yeah, but I think if someone from other cities would like some books, and we have, for example, a catalog of them somewhere, we as members can just, between cities can organize shipment. We just go to EDA, grab these books and ship it. I can talk to Rohan that just like have a space there. We can keep these books, but they will be property of the society. But will be not property of EDA, but EDA will provide space and anyone can use them for free, use, but not take.
Okay, that sounds good. Do we need a vote on this, or are we happy to leave it in Anna's court?
I think that conversation probably needs to happen first before we can vote on anything. But if Anna could come back to the next meeting with what EDA have said, that will give us some information to vote on.
Okay, I will just talk to Rohan and just like start talking with these ideas, and we'll see how it will just go, and then report back.
Sounds good. That's all the issues done. So did anyone have any additional items for the agenda?
James, you wanted to talk about some stuff, didn't you? So shall you
Yeah.
go first, and then I'll do the conference update.
Cool, thanks, Jim. So I wanted to have an update on the website. So I was in charge of getting that website live, which has not gone well so far. I had a heap of technical issues just getting the thing working, and it turned out it was Yuga error, and I got it going. But I've had I can't get Mike, who did the website, isn't responding to my emails, Slack messages, or GitHub issues, because I didn't know where it was deployed, and so I didn't manage to sort that out about how the current V2 of the website is deployed. And then I just checked recently, and the whole thing has now gone. Staging.javascript.org.nz is gone, and because it was a CMS, I don't know where all the content is. But I do have it going locally, but there's no content on there, so it just means I have to write it all again or get help from you guys to write what was on there. I'm not sure how much the committee had to do with the content on there since April when Mike was doing it, so it might just be fine for me to just smash something out and then get you guys' feedback on it.
I'm fairly sure the content was just taken from the V1
Cool.
website.
Sweet, then that helps. Because what I was trying to figure out was how the current one was deployed, and then hijack off that, piggyback off that, and then just sort it out there and just get it live. But now that's gone, I might just throw it up on Heroku, get it all going, and then we can sort of hosting from there. There was a few issues open, there still are on GitHub, but when I read through them, most of them I think can just kind of be ignored, because not ignored, sorry, it's the wrong word, put aside, because basically what I want is to get something live, and once that's there, we can start iterate on it. But getting something live is sort of the main thing I want to do. So I'm going to get that going. I'm going to aim to the next 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm going to be probably putting some things up in this committee Slack channel, just to get everyone's feedback on what's there and what else we need, and then just really start iterating on it, because I'm sorry I haven't really done overly much over the last couple of months.
That sounds good. I've just got 2 or 3 data points to add. One is that in the very first iteration of the site that Blair did, the way that the content was coming in was mostly as a Git submodule of the stuff from the docs part of the repo. So you may or may not want to copy that pattern or not. I'll leave that in your hands. The second thing is that I've created a repository on GitHub, on the GitHub account, for the logo and some assets for that. And if that's not giving you what you need for that, give me a shout and I can help you out with that.
Oh, yeah, I think I did find that, so that's awesome. Thank you.
Cool. And yeah, just thank you. It'll be really good to get something out. And I, for one, totally agree with the let's get something up and take it from there approach.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things that I know we want to do with it, but just the fact that nothing is currently there yet, I'm like, there's our biggest hurdle.
Yeah, doing a great job, because I know it's a minefield. Since we've got, this is the 3rd version and we've never had one up.
Yeah, because I got in touch with Blair and I was like, hey, do you know how this current version is deployed to live? And he's like, nah, I don't know why there's a 2nd version. I did the first one, and then I don't know. So he didn't have any idea.
No, that's cool. We'll try and help you out best we can, but it sounds like you got everything under control. I think Node would be, Heroku would be perfect for hosting us long term as well, because they've changed to their model, right? The hobby dinos don't die after 20 minutes.
They don't. I've got something else in Heroku, and it's something like you get a set number of hours a month, but they've changed how it goes up and down, I think. Like, it's still kind of off and on. But the thing about Heroku is if we go, hey, cool, let's get this up, it's like $7 a month or something, isn't it, for the lowest version of hosting?
Right.
Like, it's not.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
If you need it, I just happened to write a Terraform script that spins up EC2 and Nginx and Fusion Passenger pointing to a node.
Cool.
So it's fresh off out of the oven. I can share it with you.
That'd be cool. I will. It sounds like magic. That's cool.
All right, shall I give a little bit of an update about the conference generally? I have spent all weekend, coincidentally, working on the website for the conference. I'm going a little bit more cheapskate in that I considered a number of different solutions for the website, and eventually I've just decided GitHub Pages does the job. So that's what I'm doing, even though I'm working with Ruby and Jekyll to do that, which is not my most favorite thing in the world, but it's doing the job. I've got most of the content for the website bashed out. When it goes live, it's still going to be like tickets will be announced and CFP will be announced, but at least there'll be more detail on there. I'll be able to show the sponsor that I've got their logos up, and people can see that this is a real thing. So I had hoped to get that out this weekend, but I probably need a couple more days, to be honest with you, because I had some flu in the last couple of weeks and that slowed me down a bit. But it's definitely getting there, and when I've got something up, what I'll do is I'm going to put it in front of the committee just for a general proofread and a sort of a, does this look vaguely okay kind of check. Other than that, I've already talked about sponsors, so that's shaping up okay. The venue I mentioned, we've got that all sorted as of the last time we had a committee meeting. The new news on that is that they've assigned me a venue coordinator. So if I've got any questions, that's who I can go bother. I've also touched base with the multimedia and catering companies, and they are happy for me to contact them basically later this year to confirm our requirements there. So no movement right now on that. Finally, I have been in touch with the video company that I know, who unfortunately are based out of Australia, which does add some travel costs to the bill there, but they are very good value for money otherwise, so I think it ends up balancing out in the end. They run an open source stack for the video recording for the conference. They're called Next Day, and basically the way that works is that we have to supply them a couple of volunteers, at least maybe 4 ideally, who will actually help on the day with live editing all of the videos. That's actually, I've done that before personally, and it's quite a fun volunteer job, so I don't think we'll have any trouble picking up some volunteers for that. They basically get the feed from the laptop and the camcorder of the person to cut in between, and they get the videos out the next day, as their name would suggest, and pretty high quality. So that's my preferred option there, but I'm just trying to make all the bills balance out. As I said earlier, drumming up more sponsors is going to be my major push for the next couple of weeks. But beyond that, I think we should aim to get the CFP live towards the end of October. And I will be looking to tap people from the society generally and the committee to act as paper reviewers. So I'll be in touch with some more details about that at the next committee meeting probably. But we'll leave the CFP open for a couple of months probably, because we're opening it nice and early. That's pretty much it for my update. Did anybody have any specific questions they wanted to ask me?
No, my question was going to be when the CFPs are opening, but you answered that. So,
yes. Oh, and one final thing I will note is that I did get pinged by a chap on Slack who said that he was looking to organise a JS Conf in Auckland. I haven't managed to get back in touch with him yet because I missed his original message until just today. But has anybody heard about that at all? No. Okay. I'm obviously hoping that I can speak to this chap and that we can work something out where that will sort of come into the fold, and that can be, as I said, originally my plan for the conference was I was hoping that it could move from city to city, and I'd be very, very happy if we did have keen folks from other cities that would take the format and use it in future years. But I just need to have a chat with this chap and see, just make sure that we're not going to be clashing too much. We'll see how we go. So I'll have more news about that next time we've got the the committee meeting. That's all from me.
Great work, Jen. I'm very excited for next year. Cool. Well, does anyone else have any issues they'd like to raise? No. Well, that's it. Another committee meeting down. Thank you all for attending. We'll get the notes up pretty soon. And
Yeah, I'll throw the minutes up shortly.
cool. And everyone jump on your assigned tasks. All right. I'll see you all next
Cool.
time.
Thanks, everyone.